Hello, everyone, and of course, welcome, not back, but welcome to a new beginning of a old look, or I should say old people, old guys that were already on this show, but a new look. And I think a better look because this is something that both of us have been talking about for a couple months now, and we are finally able to bring it out to the masses. The obvious, of course, elephant in the room, which is the name change and the whole, I guess, product of the brand from the Sports Plug to now X Talking Ish. And with that being said, we want to introduce everybody to the new channel, formerly known as the Sports Plug. It is now called X Talking Ish. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I am Xavier Williams, of course, reside in Houston, Texas, with my co-host, Ish.
What up, y'all? Ishmael, reside in a place, but yeah, excited about the rebrand.
Ish need to go ahead. He has to go ahead and keep his location a little secretive. You know, he's one of those African spies, as they had. Oh, no, I'm sorry, African prince,
African spies.
African prince, like in Coming to America. So he has to keep his identity on the low. He can't let nobody know, where his whereabouts are because
That's true.
They might have to return him back to
They're gonna return me to my kingdom.
The kingdoms to where
Zamunda.
Zamunda. There you go. So with that being said, we have to keep the location of Ish on the low. We want to, of course, give a shout out to our boy Chad. He's tuning in on Facebook. He said, "What up, bros? What's up, Chad?
What up, Chad? Appreciate it, man."
And again, before we get into our topics for today, we just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in for the last 10 months, growing this channel of formerly known, like we said, the Sports Plug to now X Talking Ish. And moving forward, we will be talking not just, of course, the recaps of football, NFL football games. We'll be talking about high school. We'll now be covering high school, college, and pro format of football. We won't be covering all the sports. To be completely honest, just a lot to cover. So with that being said, we're going to stick to our bread and butter. We're going to stick to what we do. That's football. And we're going to cover it well. And if you stick with us, in the next month, we actually will be on location. We will not get the details out right now because we got to make sure that y'all tune in. We got to make sure y'all tune in so y'all know, when it happens, y'all will be the first ones to know, of course, if you tune in. And we're very excited. We know what's going on, so we're going to keep it a little secret. But with that being said, we just want to let y'all know, please go ahead and like and share. If you are tuning in on Facebook, please make sure you, as they say on the YouTube world, smash the like button. And, of course, right now, at the moment, we are still streaming on Twitter, on X Williams, on my Twitter page. And as well, if you want to check us out on our YouTube page, you can go ahead and subscribe. We are not streaming on our YouTube page at the moment. We will be on our YouTube page next week once we, of course, have everything official streaming-wise through that page. So next week, we will have everything on X Talking Ish YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to X Talking Ish on YouTube because after today, like I said, everything Sports Plug wise will be gone. We will be no more Sports Plug. Same thing with Twitch. This will be the last time we will stream on Twitch. The next stream will be on X Talking Ish Twitch page. So with that being said, I did a lot of talking. I don't want to do too much more. I'll let my boy Ish spill a little bit before we get into these topics. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm feeling good, feeling great, man. Blessed to wake up, have another day. Work was crazy today, but hey, it's always good to end the day, chatting up with you, bro, about topic we both love, man.
It's what we do. We've been doing this since 2007?
Man,
2007. We've been doing this for a while. We go ahead and keep on.
Don't date me now. Don't date me now.
Oh Lord,
I don't want people to guess my age.
Oh Lord, oh yeah, I keep forgetting I'm the one that be out here throwing dates on folks or whatnot, and be making people calculate numbers and whatnot, trying to figure out an age. Yeah, yeah. So with that being said, it's just years old. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But another year old person that just went out here and got his money, Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
Finally gets his coins he's been waiting on for a while now. He's been playing on a rookie contract. He's also, of course, gotten a franchise tag the last 2 years. And with that being said, like we talked about in previous episodes, with J.J. Watt signing to the Arizona Cardinals, for me, it's not about the 4-year deal, $160 million contract. It is what you see after that, sentence-wise, which would be $126 million guaranteed and guaranteed money. And just to give everybody a heads up, I just want to read this article from ESPN, NFL.com, when it comes to everything that is reported in the deal. So the max value of the deal can come out to $164 million, including $126 million guaranteed. Dak Prescott deal averages $42 million a year over the first 3 seasons, with $75 million in his first season and $66 million signing bonus. All right. With that being said, I've seen a lot of mixed reactions on social media from Cowboy fans, After I just spilled about the contract, how do you feel about both sides? Did Dak win? Did the Cowboys lose? Did both parties win? Or, is this something that both people can walk away from the negotiation table and hang their heads or hang their hats on and say, hey, we both are okay with what we got with this situation? How do you feel about it?
I mean, I think a lot of it's going to depend on how people look at the finances. The finances are where you're going to have a lot of people that switch up. Gabe, what's up, man? Thank you, P and Gabe, for tuning in. But like I was saying, the finances is where we're going to have the issue. For me, I think the Cowboys lost. And the only reason why I say the Cowboys lost, they won from the standpoint of they got their guy. They have him, for the next couple of years. They were able to make that deal happen. They don't have to worry about doing the franchise tag or anything else like that. But to me, they lost because had you done this deal last year, it would have been a lot cheaper. You would have got your guy for a lot cheaper. So to me, you lost because you did all this hum-hawing and arguing and franchise tagging, all of that to just come out worse than what you had before, because you are now paying this man more money than what you would have paid if you had just signed him last year. Because honestly, if we're all serious and honest here, the Patrick Mahomes deal is what basically tailored this deal.
And that's what I was going to get. I was waiting for you to say that, since you are a Chiefs fan. Everybody's contract now, after what Patrick Mahomes signed, is what everybody is basing quarterbacks' contracts on. So if you're not productive, if you're not producing like a Patrick Mahomes is doing, then it seems like a lot of people feel like you shouldn't get that type of money. But due to salary cap and because of course, the market when it comes to this position of quarterback, certain guys are just going to get paid. Like, it is what it is. But it's about being able to put them in the right ballpark of certain quarterbacks who's actually deserving of the money.
And here's another thing about it. That reason why I feel like they lost. And, it might be me. It's a subjective thing. But I feel like Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like Deshaun Watson is better, right?
Of course.
You're paying on average $1 million more for Dak Prescott than Deshaun Watson got in his deal. So once again, you lost. For me, from the number standpoint, you lost. Like, why did you wait all this time only to end up paying this man? He is now on average, for his average salary, he is the second highest paid quarterback. He's making $40 million on average. Deshaun Watson is making $39. Patrick Mahomes is making $45. So to me, again, I just feel like they lost. They lost this because they stalled out for so long, and long enough for Patrick Mahomes to get his deal. Deshaun Watson got his deal. Obviously, Dak Prescott's people, bravo to y'all, because you allowed these other players to go get their deal so that you could put Dak right in between the two of them. because that's really what they did. They were okay, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but we feel like he should get more than Deshaun Watson, so give us right about here. And what did they do? They found a way to get him $1 million more than Deshaun Watson. The Cowboys, bro, Jerry Jones, this is another example of Jerry Jones not knowing what he's doing, because let me just say this. So you gave Dak the money. Wonderful. I think that he deserves it. I think he needed to be paid. It's a long time overdue. But then you still got Zeke that you got to pay. Amari Cooper is going to need a deal. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's on a rookie deal. He's got some time. But if he continues the production that he had his rookie year, well, he's going to have to get paid. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand what Dallas is doing. I think that they were a little upset that Houston was getting all the attention for being complete imbeciles. So then they decided, all right, let's try to step it up here. Let's make some noise. It's not 100% bad, but at the same time, I'm disappointed in the deal. I think that they could have done better. They should have done it earlier, before Patrick Mahomes, and they would have saved themselves some money. So
now, I 100% understand where you're coming from, and I 100% agree with what Dak's family was able to do when it comes to the family, the agent was able to do when it comes to setting him up for success. You know, letting everybody else get their turn, get their coins, and then we're gonna go ahead and slide you in right quick. I put a question up to everybody that's out there listening. If you are checking out on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, the question I have for everybody is: will the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with Dak as their quarterback moving forward? Because a lot of these players that are on the Cowboys feel like Dak is the guy. They feel like Dak is the leader to take them to the promised land. And what you also have now, you don't have just one of the highest paid quarterbacks now, highest paid running back, highest paid wide receiver. So you have a lot of money that's invested in the offensive side of the ball and also scattered out throughout the team, to where if the Cowboys don't show up this year, there's going to be a lot of talk going on, right? Because now this upcoming year-ish, this is the no excuse year. Mike McCarthy's second year. Dak should be fully healthy. Zeke should be eating again, hopefully healthy. And Cooper, he should be doing his thing. Offensive side of the ball wise, they should be fine. But defense wise, we have to wait and see how that comes together. And we also just as a whole with the Cowboys, we know how they are every season. They look good, and all of a sudden they are an accident waiting to happen, right? So with that being said, for Dak and the Cowboys as a whole, it's not about what y'all do in the regular season. It's about what are you guys going to do when y'all actually get to the postseason.
If they get there.
Well, again, like you're saying, yes, you're 100% right. Like if they get there, but if you look at the NFC East, I mean, it's wide open.
I mean, yeah, I agree, it's wide open, but I would argue that nothing this year. Granted, they didn't have Dak Prescott, but they still had a majority of their team there, unlike Philly. Washington football team was not necessarily a team that I would say was all built up. So for that team to win the division and Dallas to only be missing their starting quarterback, I don't know. They got a long way to go. They still got a long way to go to get out that division. Not to mention the New York Giants. They didn't show anything that made me think that they were better than even the Giants. So as of right now,
hold on. Time out. Are you saying even with a healthy Dak Prescott, you feel like the Cowboys are not better than the New York?
I'm not saying with the health. I'm not saying with the healthy Dak.
You're just
Prescott
saying what you saw last year.
But what I'm saying, what I saw last year,
okay,
that just makes me think they still got, because here's the thing, Dak is coming off an injury. He's not coming out he just had a year off where he was just chilling. He had a pretty significant injury. So this man is going to have to come back, and, it's the same concern, not the same concern, but it is a pretty similar concern to what we were saying with Alex Smith this year, as far as how are you on that leg? How do you do when, people are going to hit, when hits are coming in, people come in low in the pocket? How are you going to do in that situation? We still have to see. Not to mention, Ezekiel Elliott didn't look like the best back in the NFL this year. So what happened with him? Is he going to bounce back next year? I mean, you did have Pollard who
a
ran
lot of
well.
people feel like it was because of the offensive line. A lot of people feel like Zeke kind of just didn't want to play because Dak wasn't there. You know, there's a lot of us. I'll say this: there's a lot of excuses that were able to, I guess, let Zeke slide last year. I think there are no excuses for Zeke next year. Like he has to play.
Yeah.
He has to run for at least 1,000 yards next year. If not, I mean, they're going to be looking at Zeke like, did we pay him? You know,
I
too
mean,
much.
I agree with you. I think here's my thing about the Super Bowl. I think they got a long way to go. Even if they do get out of NFC East, because anybody can get out of NFC East. Apparently, it'll just be who decides they actually want to play football.
7 games, baby.
Anybody that decides they want to actually play football the whole year will get out of that division. And then the problem that they're going to have is the NFC East. I would say a couple years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, they get out of the NFC East. You know, they're a pretty good contender. Not with Tom Brady and Tampa Bay in that division. Not with the Arizona Cardinals doing what they're doing. The LA Rams getting better. Seattle's still there making noise. San Francisco is expected to have all their people back. Like, I'm listing off names. I didn't even mention Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. Like, I'm listing all these teams that head and shoulders are better than the Cowboys. Like, no matter what, even with the healthy Dak Prescott, I'm gonna say all those teams are better than the Cowboys.
Well, shout out to my cousin Jordan. He's a longtime Cowboys fan, and I hope he's tuning in. I asked him on Twitter, you know, do you feel like the Dak Prescott will bring you out to a Super Bowl? He said yes. Well, of course, you know, he is a young Cowboys fan, so I expect him to say that because, you know,
even most old Cowboys fans will say that.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
They're delusional.
That's exactly what I was getting at. No matter if you're young or old, if you're a Cowboys fan, majority of the time you are delusional. I met a couple of, you know, reasonable Cowboy fans that will actually, you know, spit some realistic stuff. Like I said, most recently I had one of my sergeants I was with in the military. He said realistically he's mad about the Dak signing. He said that he feel like they got, you know, the Cowboys overpaid. He feel like he is a good quarterback, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Deshaun Watson. And again, that's a legit, real Cowboys fan to me because I think he's being real about what he sees. But at the end of the day, like I say all the time will tell. But I will also say this when it comes to wrap up this topic, when it comes to the Cowboys paying Dak, do you feel like the Cowboys went ahead and paid Dak because they felt bad that he got injured last year?
Oh no. Jerry Jones, I don't think,
you know, Jerry don't give out no sympathy money. So
Jerry Jones doesn't give out sympathy money. Jerry Jones don't care. I mean, that man could have had his whole leg ripped off, and Jerry Jones would have been like, "Oh, you missing a leg? Bye." He wouldn't even thought twice about cutting that man. Like, come on,
it'd be like Jerry Jones, like, bye.
Jerry Jones don't care. He'd be like, "Oh, okay, bye. That's nice. See you."
All righty then. All right, let's get to the comments right quick. Christine, she says they won't win a Super Bowl until Jerry is gone. So
Jerry does get in his own way. I agree. I think until he's gone or he actually decides, like, let somebody else make some of these decisions.
No, because he's still going to find a way to get in there and make a decision or two. If you know Jerry Jones, he is our generation Al Davis.
Hey man,
he's going to have some type of say in what happens in his company.
We'll see. I mean, maybe one of these days somebody gonna, come along that'll get him to just step back. Just, let somebody else make these decisions. Let's see what happens. I mean, they've been close. Let's be honest about the Cowboys. They've been close a number of times. They've had teams that you could say arguably
during the Romo era, or
during the Romo. I think during the
Romo or Dak era. Okay.
During the Romo era, I think that they had teams that you arguably could have said, okay, yeah, y'all could have went to the Super Bowl, made a little bit more noise, but they always, fell a little short. And then the moves they would make in order to try to make it to the Super Bowl next year would kind of make you think, like, wait, what is going on? What are y'all doing? I think that's the problem that they have. Sometimes they try to over address their issues. So it'll be interesting to see how they go into this offseason and what moves they make. But it looks like it's going to be a fun offseason because there's a lot going on in free agency already.
There is, and of course, we'll definitely talk about that very soon when we'll have our free agency episode and also our draft episode and combine episode. We'll have all that coming soon, so make sure, of course, you stay tuned to X Talking Ish, and of course, any other time. Of course, if you tune into the show, this will be our commercial break. We'll let y'all know about 7 Spice, but I'm happy that y'all tuning in because there is no more 7 Spice special. So please do not go to 7 Spice now and say, hey, the sports plug said we can get a free chicken.
Because there's no more sports plug.
All right, exactly. So with that being said, no chicken tender basket for y'all. I had to make sure we wanted to have the promo from the 1st to the 7th. And now that the 7th is passed, we will have another promo coming up soon. So again, make sure y'all stay tuned because you just never know what's on the show unless you tune in. All righty then. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some college football, not just college football, HBCU college football. Deion Sanders and Jackson State gets them a huge win against Grambling and a nice little end of the game battle. A little sloppy, couple turnovers.
It was very sloppy
towards the end of the game, but a nice, hard fought game amongst, like I said, both teams. From what I see, of course, I'll let you go right quick, but from what I see, of course, beginning of the season for it doesn't matter if it's high school, college, or pro, it's gonna be sloppy. You still got the offensive defense still trying to figure out things on both sides of the ball. The whole play calling on the offensive side of the ball is not, it's not expanded just yet. You're going to be running base plays. So to watch both of these teams go up against each other, I wanted to see more of who's going to pop off the screen. Who's going to, I guess you could say, wow us. And there was a couple of players. Again, I'll let you go right quick-ish.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a pretty close game. Very sloppy, a lot of turnovers. Early on, Deion's team had a chance to put it away a couple of times, I feel like, and then they fumbled going into the end zone, or a lot of fumbles by Jackson State, and then to end the game, Grambling fumbled pretty much at the end zone, at the goal line. So. Yep. Grambling should have won the game, to be honest, just from that situation. At the goal line, last seconds to close to win the game, and then you fumble and give it up. But I saw a lot of good things. It's early for Deion. He's still, trying to, make an impact on the team, put his own stamp on the team. The offensive play calling it's a little hit or miss for me early on. I think they're still trying to figure out exactly what their identity is going to be. But they do. The running backs, they have some really nice running backs that made some really big plays. They got some tall, really big receivers at Jackson State that look good. And on the defensive side, that's the side that impressed me, really. They weren't really they did have some problems in coverage from the linebackers, but overall, they got some hitters. Like, they hit. There were a lot of times I think if I counted it, like 5 or 6 times that they had to review for targeting. And that was the only issue. They actually got one player that got ejected for it.
And that's something that I was going to speak about, and I apologize for cutting you off. But the referees in this game, man, they made some odd calls. They definitely altered this game. And if I'm Deion, I'm happy I'm not a coach from time to time, because I would definitely slip up and say some things I'm not supposed to say, and my pocketbooks would not appreciate that. But because we are allowed to have this platform, I would definitely say that, man, these referees, y'all tripping out here. There's a lot of flags that were thrown, because I know that the way it might look like it was a hard hit, but I know I saw one play where he got called for a illegal hit, but it was just sound tackling. They reviewed it, it was okay, but it's unfortunate that we are so quick to throw, or to make the game safer, that we're so quick to be trigger happy on throwing these flags and throwing players out for hits that just 10 years ago ish, when we were playing, they would have been legal. They've been fine. But I understand the safety aspect. They want to make sure football is safe. But let's be real, Ish, and we know this since day one of us playing, since Little League football. Football would never be safe. It is a violent game on purpose.
Yeah,
It's a violent game on purpose.
I think that my only issue with the number of flags that got thrown on the occasion is just that it makes the game a lot longer than it needs to be.
That too.
Like, I understand I understand the situation of you have to throw the flag and then you can review it to see whether or not it's actually targeting. But I argue that, like this game, for instance, like I said, I think there was like 4 or 5 different checks in the game for targeting, and I mean, each check takes a long time. The fumbles, they reviewed the fumbles and everything. Like the game went it was a long game because of all of the reviews that they had to do. So that was my only issue with the game. But other than that, the quarterback from Grambling State, his name is escaping me at the moment, but man, he had a wonderful game. He was tearing Jackson State's defense apart. And he was really calm, collected. But they just, again, both teams making mistakes at the wrong times, just being sloppy, which, it's early. I mean, this is Jackson State's second game, first game against a conference opponent. This is Grambling's first game of the season. So it's to be expected. But yeah, I was excited about it. I was excited about the number of people tuning in because Deion, and wanting to see what Deion did. And, for him to get a win, that's really good for Jackson State and their program moving forward because it's only going to continue to hype for them.
The quarterback you're talking about from Grambling State is Hickbottom.
Yeah, yes. Man, he was a cold boy, man. He was making, really sound in the pocket, going through some reads. He made some great throws in the seam. And then when it wasn't there, he would use his feet, but he wasn't a run first quarterback. He was definitely looking to make a play down the field with his arm before he ran. And I was really impressed by, just the way he played. It was really good. I felt disappointed for him because I did think Grambling should have won. Only because they were playing a little bit better towards the end of the game. And it looked like he drove them all the way down the field to score the game-winning touchdown, and then the fumble at the goal line, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what you're saying when it comes to a couple of things. First, I would just want to get to the second half. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the box score, Jackson State scored 7 points in the first, 20 in the second quarter. Then all of a sudden you go scoreless in the third, and you only scored 6 in the fourth. Grambling scored 14 in the first, none in the second, and then 7 points in the third, 7 in the fourth. You just came up, 5 points short to tie in the game. But like Ish was saying, you put up some points in the first half, but you just didn't finish. You almost got caught lacking. Because again, if you didn't score those 6 points in the fourth quarter, you almost went scoreless in the second half. So there's some things. The great thing about football, no matter, from the best coaches, from Belichick, Nick Saban, no matter if you win a game 59-0 or if you win a game 28-22, they will find things in a game that they messed up on, and will find ways to make sure that they correct it moving forward. And this is a great game to, of course, build on, get some confidence in this program, and to make sure, and also something that Deion can hang his hat on, but it's still work to be done because you don't want to get too high, right? Because next week, again, I'm just being realistic. I'm not trying to, I don't want Jackson State to lose next week. I'm just saying, you go against an inferior opponent and you play down to their level. We see that with football a lot. So with that being said, we just have to wait and see, of course, moving along, what happens with Jackson State. Another thing I want to piggyback off of what Ish said, because we talked about this, and when Deion got named Jackson State's head coach, the buzz that would create. Guess who was in the stands? Rex Ryan, former NFL head coach, New York Jets, and of course on ESPN personality, ESPN very own Rex Ryan was in the stands as well. So the buzz is real. There's going to be things that are going to happen. There's going to be more eyes tuning in every week. No matter what Deion does, either win or lose, there's going to be some eyes, right? So I'm excited to watch what happens. Ish, I know you're excited. And it's going to be very interesting, the roller coaster ride for this season, because, again, it's in the spring. It's not the fall. So that's interesting to watch.
That's the only thing that's another thing that's really weird to me is, they're playing this season in the spring, and I guess it's kind of like their spring ball because – you take off the summer and then you coming right back for fall camp and getting ready for the fall.
Yeah, they hit them with that NBA bubble. turnaround.
It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be pretty rough. This a real physical, rough game for some of these guys that are underclassmen that are playing a lot. You're not gonna get much time to rest your body and get ready for the next season. So it's gonna be interesting to see what effects that has in the fall. You may have a team that does really well this spring, and then in the fall they may have taken a lot of hits, been in a lot of tough games, and aren't able to pull it out. So that's one of the things that I'm keeping my eye on is just the fatigue and how that's gonna affect you in the fall. It's nice to see all this going on in the spring. It's cool to have football in the spring, something to watch. But my concern is for the athletes and their safety, and just how is this going to affect them come fall time, especially the ones that are like juniors now, that fall is going to be your senior season before you potentially go to the NFL, try to go to the combine, stuff like that. Like that's going to be very interesting to see how they respond as well. So I mean, there's a lot of implications that come from this spring season and what's happening, but it is very exciting to see Deion doing well, 2-0 to begin his career. And if he does well this spring, and then when his most of his recruiting classes available to him in the fall, if they do well, do you think Florida State comes a knocking? Somebody else comes knocking down his door saying, "Hey,
well,
Prime, come to my school."
Well, that's something that we all talk about, not during the show, but, me, you, and Adrian, that's something that we talk about a lot when it comes to how committed is Deion really to building this program. Are you going to be here for the long? Are you going to be here for the? It's not about the sons, though. It's about again, what me and Adrian talked about is, can you take the class that you recruited your first year and bring them to be seniors? Exactly.
Oh yeah. I agree.
That's 100. What it's about. After you do that, then you can leave.
His son's a freshman now. Is he going to ride it out with his son and then leave? That's my question. That's the only thing that makes me think maybe he's serious about it. Maybe he's serious because his son is there. He can ride it out with his son.
Because we've seen plenty of coaches that help their son get from high school to college, of course, that they coach, and then they get to the league. No matter if it's college basketball or college football, right? We see Dabo Swinney's son is playing on Clemson right now.
Yep.
Okay. McDermott, Sean McDermott and Doug McDermott and whatnot, and Creighton. So it happens. It's just for me, I feel like if Deion wants to change the culture at Jackson State and want to attract the other guys that were serious about coaching but just don't get the opportunity, hey, come to HBCUs, let's build this and make this what it needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. If he wants to have a true lasting impact, he needs to be there for a couple of years, because 1 year or a year and a half isn't going to do anything. He needs to be there a couple of years, keep the hype going, get some results, keep bringing in big recruiting classes. And I think if he's able to do that and he does commit to doing that, it will help to spread some of that to some of these other schools, because, not everybody wants to go to Jackson, Mississippi for school, right? So a kid who may be, interested in Jackson State because Deion's there and they don't necessarily want to go to Jackson, Mississippi, maybe they go to a Grambling. Maybe they go to a Prairie View. I mean, Houston right here is a hotbed of talent. There's a lot of talent that gets overlooked and doesn't make it to the FBS level that is FBS level talent, right? Maybe some of those kids decide, it just takes one class to say, hey, you know what? We got a lot of talent here.
Go to Prairie
Let's
View.
all go to Prairie View.
TSU.
Let's all go to TSU. I mean, it just takes 1 year. If Deion can have that sort of impact where he maybe, influences some kids to say, maybe we should take our talents to a HBCU like a TSU or Prairie View here in Houston, where you got a lot of players here that can play at a high level. Who knows what can happen?
Like you said, they just don't get the opportunity, or of course they look past an HBCU because they just don't know about, the ins and outs of an HBCU. And, there's a lot of factors of why people don't choose HBCUs. The best thing about us talking about HBCUs, because I think it says something about something about a combine earlier. Something that I think we might need to stay tuned in. I don't know. There's something that might happen in the future. We might. I don't know. Stay tuned to X Talking Ish, and you might see a little bit more HBCU football on this channel. So again, just stay tuned. We got some things in the works for you guys. So go ahead, guys and ladies that's out there. I want to be inclusive. I want to make sure I'm inclusive. It's 2021, baby.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we say the right
This
things.
is an inclusive pod.
Because somebody that was not inclusive, Mr. Les Miles, unfortunately, is out. You like that transition, huh? Is out as head coach at Kansas.
You crazy, bro.
You like that, huh? I know. Hey, your boy getting better. So with that being said, let me go ahead and reiterate what I just said. Les Miles is unfortunately now out as head coach for the Kansas Jayhawks after allegations came up at his previous school that he was coaching at LSU that he was apparently going about the choosing of the right staff, pretty much picking women on their looks, also sending women text messages to invite them out to his summer house or his lake house or whatnot, and also of course trying to pretty much get some kisses, put his hands on him, do things that he's not supposed to be doing. Hey, that's just
sounds
in the
creepy.
report. Hey, that's what's in the report.
Okay.
So with that being said, this is one of those really surprising things where something that happened. Because let me read this one more time.
People will say cancel culture.
2013. Something that happened in 2013 is biting him in the butt in 2021 when he's with a whole new different school and program, to where you might be right. It could be a cancel culture thing, but it also is it accountability? Is it Les Miles should be held accountable for the things that he did wrong back in the day? Is this if Nick Saban got in trouble, if Dabo Swinney got in trouble, if Mac Brown did something at UT back when he won a national championship, is he going to have to get fired at North Carolina? Like, this is something that's very I was just surprised to have this whole thing develop, because Kansas did 4 days ago, they did put him on administrative leave. So, usually, of course, they want to, do the whole investigation and make sure that everything checks out right, because from the reports that I'm reading on ESPN, Kansas said that they did their research on Les Miles before they hired him.
Okay, I was about to get into that because he's now gone.
You can go.
They've parted ways with him.
You can go. Yeah.
So they've mutually parted ways now. But I wanted to get into the fact that they said that they did their vetting before they hired him and nothing came up, right? Yeah. Like they said, we looked into him, we checked the background, nothing happened. That's my one problem with this whole situation. If you're saying that you did your vetting and you didn't see anything, you didn't find anything, why is it then that as soon as this report comes out, you put him on administrative leave, and then a couple days later, you part ways with him mutually? Like, that's where, for me, it doesn't make sense. If I checked on this guy, I did all my research on him, I actually went and vetted him, and then this report comes out, I'm thinking like, hey, let me circle back and follow up on this, do my investigating, because I checked this man and I didn't see any of this. I didn't get any of these reports. So if I'm somebody who supports Kansas football, which honestly, there are probably only 10 of those people in the world. Mm-hmm. If I'm one of those 10 people, I got to look at my administration and say, yo, what was this vetting that you did? Like, honestly, what did you do? If this was out there and we got this report now, and there are people that clearly were willing to talk about it, who did you talk to? Like, Kansas needs to answer for something, because to me, it seemed like they didn't vet that man at all. They decided, hey, you know what? We're Kansas football. We're terrible. We need to make a splash. Let's go get somebody named Les Miles, who was big a couple years ago with LSU. And then, maybe we'll be able to get a good program together.
Now, it's funny. Okay, let's give everybody a little background on Kansas as a university. I have no problems with Kansas. Kansas as a university produces a lot of great basketball players because of the recruiting process and everything that they've done in the last 100 years of basketball. Of course, home of Dr. James Naismith, of course, the inventor of basketball. But just recently with Kansas, of course, they got in trouble by their own booster club when it comes to Snoop Dogg performing and having, a strip performance at a basketball at their midnight, that midnight
Madness
run, the Midnight Madness thing that they do, of course, to start the season. They were under fire at one point in time, and Bill Self, I think, was at one point in time was really like under fire when it comes to Mike getting fired, right?
Yep, for because violations.
But because they are always in the Final Four, and if they're not in the Final Four, I'm sorry, they always win the Big 12. That's the first thing that happens, and they at least get to the Final Four. They might not win a national championship. They haven't won a national championship in almost 20 years now. 2008, I think the last time, so about 13 years, about 13 years. But when you're able to, of course, consistently win and pump in money for the university, of course, Bill Self isn't going anywhere. But with Kansas, it seems like, and like you just said, Ish, there are times that Kansas football will beg a coach to come and coach there because usually Kansas as a football program is usually the laughingstock of the Big 12.
The laughingstock of all FBS football,
for the most part. If it's not Kansas, it's mostly Kansas. So with that being said, I'm trying to think of another school, and I really can't. I mean, maybe Colorado, but I mean it's mainly Kansas. So with that being said, for Kansas to first, they made the splash with hiring Les Miles. A lot of people were surprised that they were able to get him in the first place, right? They're like, oh, okay, that was great for Kansas. Good job for Kansas, Mm-hmm. Les Miles.
Maybe this is why, but
that's something. Maybe that's
why they got him. Maybe that's how they were able to get him. Other schools did better vetting or actually vetted that man,
maybe
and they were like,
"Oh, no, right now."
And then Kansas were like, "Hey, we're Kansas. We can kind of stay low key. Who's gonna really be looking into us? Let's hire this man regardless." Or they didn't do their background check.
Help him get us some wins right quick, and he can go on about his way because he gonna go somewhere anyways. I could definitely see how that was playing out. But it seemed like, oh, gotcha. It seemed like somebody, oh, gotcha, right quick.
Somebody got them. They pulled the rug out from under them real quick. I mean, that's just how I feel about it.
I mean,
if we're being honest,
if you're being logical,
it didn't make sense to begin with. Les Miles going from LSU to Kansas. I mean, you would think he would have other opportunities available.
At least a coordinated position somewhere before he goes to. But let's be real though, Kansas still a D1 school and of course a decent conference. I know a lot of people hate the Big 12. Even people that's in the Big 12 probably hate the Big 12. But it at least gives you an opportunity to start over. Start over your coaching. You don't have no pressure there. There's no pressure in Kansas. And if you win, if you go over 500, it's a win. If you go under 500,
if you get 2 wins, it's a win.
But that's what I'm saying. If you go under 500, it's still like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks, Miles. But it's all good. We'll try next year, right? So it checked the boxes when it comes to, like you said, Ish. Maybe nobody was going to pay attention to it moving forward, and all of a sudden you have all these things that come out that happened in the past, and it's not biting just Les Miles in the butt. It seems like it's biting a couple other people and inanimate objects, cartoons, books, syrups out there. A lot of people feel some type of way about it. But if it is what it is, then it is what it is, and people can be mad about it if they want to. But if it's racist, it's racist. If it's sexual, if it's sexual misconduct, it's sexual misconduct. If it's cheating, it's cheating, right? You can't blur lines until
I agree with that. I think one of my other concerns with the whole Kansas situation and them saying that they vetted him. So let's say you did the vetting, right? And let's say you did find this information out, but you thought like, this is years ago. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. Let's give this guy another opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. What's the problem with coming out and saying, hey, we decided to give this man a second chance? Like we knew, we found this in the reports, but we thought it was years ago. We wanted to give him an opportunity to, change. He said he's a better, he said he moved on past it. Whatever conversation you had with him, if you had a conversation, Just say that. Say, hey, we gave him a second chance. Let's move forward. Like, what's the problem with saying that? If that's what you thought. Like, again, I'm still trying to figure out how he got into this position without them knowing any of this or finding any of this out. And now they're like, oh, well, this happened. Yeah, we got to get rid of you. Like, I just don't feel like there was a possibility that they did their background check on him and didn't find any of this. Like, there was
because
none
let's be
of
real,
this.
Ish. We as a culture, especially in the United States, we are Americans. We are more reactive to certain things, like Kansas was when it comes to, we'll go ahead and put them on leave. Let's go ahead and put out a statement and say, hey, we vetted for him. We thought everything was right, but instead of being reactive, why not be proactive and do the right things leading up to it? Because a lot of people, and again, talking about this country that we live in, it's a beautiful country, but at the end of the day, we lack accountability. A lot of people do not want to have that accountability put on them when it comes to doing what you are supposed to do, those right things that, you say. If you're a leader of men and you're a leader, you're supposed to be doing those right things when people are not looking. So with that being said, we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know how truthful it is. It probably is. It might be true. It might not. We might not never know. But at the end of the day, right now, what's going on right now, Les Miles is out as Kansas head coach. But I feel like he will get another opportunity, because we just saw Rick Pitino with Louisville and his situation, and he was able to get a head coaching job within a year.
No, I don't think
Les Miles gonna get another job. Want to bet?
I don't think
because the second school that hires him going to do exactly what you just said, Ish. We feel like we should give him another chance, because again, to wrap up about it, this beautiful country, America loves a comeback story. No matter who you are, no matter what you did, America loves a comeback story. So Les Miles will get his chance and he will get his opportunity. We will have another show and I'll say, hey, told you he's coaching that D2 or D3, whatever, one number title, and Les Miles is back. Right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
It's possible. All righty then. Well, that will do it for tonight. Ish. I don't know about you, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This was the first episode of X Talking Ish, and I think it was a successful one. I think it was great, and I think we have a lot more for y'all moving forward. Again, this is it might be the same. It might seem like it's the same, but it's going to be a lot different moving forward. We have player interviews. We will have a breakdown of film. We will be breaking down NFL film on here as well, to make sure that y'all see what we see, because it's times that we talk to y'all on social media and I don't know what the hell y'all looking at. I'm just being completely honest. I don't know what the hell y'all looking at. So we're going to make sure that y'all see what we see. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next time on X Talking Ish.
Peace.